Happy New Year! It's time again for another installment of the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour YouTube update. For those who don't know, I do one of these every month in order to update everybody on all the latest happenings on my website, which is disneychris.com, and my special feature on my website, which is called the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, or Disneyland A Magical Audio Tour. Either one is acceptable. But before we get into the happenings for this vlog, I would like to first and foremost wish everybody out there a very happy new year, and I am looking forward to 2020. I can see clearly now because everything is 2020. So I hope everybody is going to have an amazing new year. So here's to the best. And I was very busy over the past month, and I have a lot to share with you as far as what activities I have completed, as far as getting content ready for the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour. But before we get into all that, I have a few little plugs I'd like to give. And the first one would be Patreon. We do have a Patreon account, and it's under the name Disney Chris. And on there, you can make a contribution every month, and in exchange for your generous contributions, we will give you in return special rewards. And your contributions help to contribute to my website, disneychris.com, home of the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, Dateline Jiminy Crickets, which is our YouTube monthly Disney news program, and our original podcast, just called Jiminy Crickets, which covers Disney history, Disney lore, Disney movies, Disney parks, just sort of an all-encompassing Disney podcast with an emphasis on history, for sure. And in addition to that, as I said, you also get special rewards depending on what level you contribute at. $1 level is brave, $5 level is truthful, $10 level is unselfish, and $25 is official conscience. So the Blue Fairy said to Pinocchio, prove yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish, and one day you'll be a real boy. That's where we got those names from, in case you didn't realize it. But the $1 level, you receive our thanks for your support. The $5 level, you get a couple things. You get all the songs that I feature as my Disney song of the day throughout the month. I create a little package of everything with all the artwork and send it as sort of a little album to you, so you have all the songs. And we also do a little commentary of an animated short subject, a classic Disney short subject. Ruthie, my friend and co-host on my podcast, and another friend, Brian, we all get together and watch a cartoon and record a live commentary, and we send you that as well. Now, if you're the $10 level, you get all of that, plus you get a special exclusive podcast called Down the Rabbit Hole. And at the $25 level, you get all of that, plus you get special gifts that we send. We recently sent a very nice Jiminy Cricket mug that we designed. So everybody at the $25 level got one of those. And also, if you're at the $10 level, coming in April, we're going to be sending you something as well, either a mug or a t-shirt. So those are the things you'll get in return. Oh, and also, at the $10 level, we also include another live commentary where we watch a classic Disneyland style documentary from the old Disneyland Wonderful World of Color television series, and we watch it and provide commentary. So we send that to you also. And so there's lots of reasons to contribute, and I do send bonus audio every few months as well. So please consider, because it's mutually beneficial, and every little bit helps, and it does cost money to bring you all the magic that we share at no cost. So if you're able to contribute, we would really appreciate your consideration. We also just recently launched an online store, and on there we sell all sorts of stuff with our logos. We have two logos. We have one for my website, and specifically the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, which is that DisneyChris.com logo that you see. And then the circle logo is for our Dateline Jiminy Crickets podcast. So you have a choice of either, and either one comes in all the different items. So you can get stickers, t-shirts, notebooks. We also added bags and a few other things as well. So to get to that, you want to check out, well, the easiest way to get to it is to go onto my website, which is DisneyChris.com, and on the home page you'll find a at the top on the bottom right corner, it says donate merch. Let me show you that. Hold on. Here's my home page. If you look in the bottom right corner right here, it says donate/merch. And if you click on that, it'll bring you to this page. And on this page, there's a link to where you can look at our store, which is https://jcpodcast.threadless.com. jcpodcast.threadless.com. You can also link to our PayPal if you want to make a one-time donation from this page. And you can also link to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/DisneyChris, all one word, DisneyChris. And also on the home page of my website, we also have a link to the store. And we have, at the very bottom, a link to our PayPal. And sort of towards the middle of the page, well, a little bit down from the top, we also have a link to the Patreon. So you can get to Patreon, PayPal, or our store from my website if you don't want to have to remember. It's easier to remember DisneyChris.com, so that'll bring you to all the links that you need for that. So try it out for a month, see if you like the rewards that we sent you, and if you aren't that excited about it, then you can cancel anytime. We hope that you don't, but we hope to get some more contributions this year. That's one of our goals for 2020. So sorry if I have to give you the whole sales pitch, but them's the breaks, kids. So let's get into the fun, alright? So coming this month, we have a lot of fun coming this month. First of all, I have recently added the Disney Song of the Year. And the Disney Song of the Year was voted on by several people online. I went on Facebook, I went on Twitter, and a few other places, and put out a poll to find out who or what song was considered the best representative Disney song for the year 2019. And the winner is Into the Unknown from Frozen 2. So if you want to check out, again, go to my website, DisneyChris.com, and if you want to check out and see where that song is located, you have to go to my Song of the Year timeline, which is right here. If you click on Song of the Year timeline, which is on the right on the top one, it'll bring you to this. And this is one representative song for every year from 1928 until the present. And it's on 4 pages, and you can link to each section. The first one goes up to 1949. The second one, I'll click on it, goes from 1950 to 1969. You see, I have a picture and the name of the song and when it was released and the year, one for each year. I've also got another directory at the bottom of the page, and if you click on the 1990 to 2020 link, which is the last page of it, and scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see this year's song, or last year's song now, Into the Unknown from Frozen. And next year, at the end of the year, or the end of this year, I will choose another new song, and it's just going to keep going and going forever. Every year I'll add a new song. So I always look for other people's opinions and sort of weigh them. Of course, I get the final say, but this year I sort of deferred because I'm not a big Frozen fan, but I couldn't think of anything that was more representative of this year as far as music, so I went ahead and listened to what other people told me this time. So, that is the song of the year. What else is happening in January? Well, we've got the Jiminy Crickets podcast. And we just released a new episode last week of the regular audio Jiminy Crickets podcast. And the emphasis, like I said, on that is Disney parks and movies and history, not so much news. So that's sort of the point of that podcast. But we just released a very special one called Disneyland 59. And it's available on our regular stream, our podcast stream, and also on our podcast website, which is jcricketpodcast.blogspot.com. Or you can also just go over to our YouTube channel, which is probably what you're watching right now, and you'll find a version of that posted as a YouTube video. It's just the image you're looking at right now, it's just the same image. There's no visual element to it other than what you're looking at. Our news show that we do once a month is very visual. We have lots of graphics and we show all sorts of pictures and things. But this is just our traditional, original audio show. In addition to our Disneyland 59 episode, which just came out, this coming month we have episode 118, Space Mountain, 45th anniversary. Space Mountain opened in January of 1975 at Walt Disney World. But we're going to talk about Disney World and Disneyland and all the other versions of Space Mountain and sort of give a full look at the history and lore and love of this famous attraction. So that's coming for this month's episode of the Jiminy Cricket podcast. Now, we also, like I mentioned, we have 2 other podcasts. One of them is exclusively on YouTube, but it's not exclusively on YouTube. We do release an audio version, but it's highly recommended that you watch it on YouTube because it's a very visual show. It's all graphics and pictures and all sorts of fun stuff to look at. So, if you can, try to watch it on YouTube. Otherwise, you can listen to it on our normal podcast feed. The other one is called Down the Rabbit Hole, and this is an exclusive show only for Patreon subscribers at the $5 level and up, and it's just sort of a structured roundtable discussion on various topics, and we go off on tangents, and it's usually about an hour long, and we release that once a month. Sometimes we get into the more controversial things, and so that's down the rabbit hole. Literally, we go down the rabbit hole on that show. So what else is coming in January? Well, you might want to check out our fun things going on social media this month, because we've got Facebook and Patreon, and we have a Facebook group called the Jiminy Crickets Podcast. You can find us on there and send us a request to join. The more the merrier. We talk about the show, we talk about just general Disney things, and I post lots of pictures. And speaking of posting lots of pictures, if you really want to see a lot of pictures, you should join our Instagram, because on Instagram I post a ton of pictures. I just posted a few for New Year's today. I always post Disney images. I'm very particular about what images I post. They have to be, high resolution, colorful, beautiful images. I'm very picky, so if you follow me, you'll only see beautiful Disney images. A lot of the vintage variety, which is sort of where my preferences are. And that is at Disney_JC_podcast. So it encompasses both my website and our podcasts. So both are and also it's a good way to keep up to date with the podcast and when they're released, because I always post on Instagram to give updates there as well. So let's get to the real meat of the bones, and that would be the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, and exactly what I've been working on since the last update I did on December 1st. And this is my to-do list. And basically, the feature on my site, the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, has 27 chapters. Right now I'm focusing on the first 6 chapters and then the last chapters. This says 28 because I recently consolidated chapters 27 and 28 into one chapter, and it still says 28. I only am just noticing that I never changed that. But it is 27, not 28. Anyway, I'm working on the first 6, and then the last, 19 through 27 is, I guess that's 8. So the first 6 and the last 8 chapters. The middle chapters are going to be the next area of focus after I finish what I'm already working on. And what I'm working on is just adding more content, because over the years I've just gotten more and more and more content, and it's like chasing a dragon. You can't ever catch it. The more I add, the more content I get, and I've been working on this since 2013 and just trying to get everything posted, and I keep getting more content, and Disney keeps adding more stuff to their park, and it's just, so I'm sort of taming it down right now, because I'm sort of at a point where I feel I have more of a grip on things. It's not as crazy how much I have to do anymore. It's mostly just final cleanup. So before I get into that, what you're looking at, let me scroll down to the very bottom of this document and sort of tell you what the color coding means. So if we scroll down, I made a little key, not really for myself, but more for your benefit, people watching this, so I could show this to you, because I know in my head what this is. But anything that's highlighted in yellow means that I have finished the first stage. And the first stage is preliminary editing, which means cutting and pasting, doing basic cleanup like removing background hiss, mixing different elements together, creating mixes, creating ride-throughs, anything that's just sort of the basic bones of putting together an audio track. That's what that is. The next stage after that is final. I used to call it final editing, but technically it's final cleanup because it's really already been edited. So anything that's not highlighted, has no color on it, means that it has not undergone the initial preliminary editing stage. I haven't done anything to it yet. And anything that's highlighted in gray means that I've finished the yellow stage and also the final stage. It's in 2 stages, and it's been added to the website. So it goes from yellow to gray. Now anything in red means I have missing materials. There's things I do not yet have, so I'm unable to complete it until I obtain the materials I am looking for. There's only a handful of them. Most of them I have everything. And the ones that I need things for, it's not the whole thing. It's usually I need a particular sound effect. I'm going to go over that in a minute. Some of the things I need, put the word out. Maybe some people can help me find these things. Now on the docket, this is what's really incredible to me. I'm down to 4. There's only 4 things that are not yellow, red, or gray currently. So I've narrowed it way down to 4. When I first started this list, everything was white. Nothing was highlighted. But now I'm only down to 4 left to go. I just finished one this morning, and only 4 to go. These are kind of hard ones, though, so they're going to take a while. I'm sort of left the more difficult ones till the end, as is my normal way of doing things. But anyway, let me go up and show you. So the first chapter, everything except for this, is ready for final editing, ready for the final cleanup stage. And as you can see, some of these are things I'm redoing. So some of these you might already see on the website, but I'm improving them. I've created brand new versions that are going to replace what's existing already. So the one here in blue, I still have some possible, it's sort of a weird one because it's set up basically, but there's this whole segment that has all this background noise, and I'm going to try to clean it up as much as I can. And so that's sort of a weird one where it's got all this weird, tricky cleanup involved. So I highlighted it blue, and it's really the only one that is highlighted blue. And I have notes down here of what needs to be done with it. So everything else is one of these 3 colors: yellow, red, or gray. There's only that one that's blue. But because it's blue, I didn't highlight this yet. In order to highlight that yellow, I have to have everything. And since one of them's blue, I can't highlight that yet. I can highlight the redo because the 2 redos are done. But the general chapter, I have 1 left. So, chapter 2, Hometown USA, I have 2 in red, which I'm looking for materials for, or I need certain things in order to complete it. And I'm going to go over that in a minute with you. I made a special little thing to show you that. And then, as far as the redos, I have 1 that's left white, which, as you saw a minute ago, is down here. The Walt Disney Story, Chapter 2, Track 54. So that one I still have to do the first stage editing to. And I've been putting that one off because it's sort of, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to handle it. I have the materials, I just don't know what I'm going to do with it. And then this one here, number 11, is on the site. It's already been done. The eventual goal is to have everything gray. That means everything is on the site and done, and we can move on to other things. Meet me down on Main Street. Everything is set up. So I was able to highlight this in yellow because it's done. I don't have anything else left to set up for cleanup. And one of them is already on the site. Chapter 4, The Heart of Disneyland, which is Central Plaza. I just finished the last one today, setting up the last one today. I Love a Parade. It's also done with a few that have been added already to the site. Tropical Regions of the World, which is Adventureland. I have one that I need I need something for, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. And one of them is white that I need to do the edit, the initial setup for. I'm going to redo my Indiana Jones adventure ride through. And I want to redo the Aladdin's Oasis dinner show because I have it on the site right now, but I want to improve the sound quality. And I am missing something for this track so that's why that's red. And I'll go over that in a minute too. So chapter 19. So now I did chapters 1 through 6, and then we're skipping all the middle ones because after all this is done, then I'm going to go back and do the middle chapters. So the next one we come to is chapter 19. Everything is been set up for final editing, so this is highlighted yellow. All the tracks are yellow. The Disneyland Hotel is all set up. Disneyland After Dark. Christmas time in Disneyland is not only all set up, but everything is gray. There's nothing left to do even the final cleanup on. I did that in order to have it ready for Christmas this year, so I went ahead and got all those done in time for Christmas, so everybody had a chance to listen to those. Holiday time in Disneyland, which is every holiday except for Christmas. I have a few that I need to do. I want to try and get this Sweetheart Night one done before Valentine's, so you'll probably see this one appear on the site this month. Magical Milestones is Disneyland birthdays and such. And the only other one I don't have highlighted is this one, because this has the exact same track that's on Chapter 1 that I told you has certain things it needs to have done to it. But I'm going to have that same track on both chapters. That's why there's two that are the same thing here. Then I have this little section here called Tracks Involving Train Sound Effects. Tracks is no pun intended with the train tracks, but these are the train tracks. So I'm missing some things for these train tracks in order to get these done. So that's why I created a separate section for this. You see all the chapters are different chapters, and that's why they're all highlighted in red. So having gone through the whole document, you can see there's not that much that's red, and there's only 4 left that are white, and there's only that one that's in blue. So I've really made a lot of progress, and I'm nearly done. If I get to a point where I have all 4 of these done, and I still don't have any of these red things yet, and I'm still waiting to hopefully find these things, I will go ahead and start the next stage, which will be going through each of these yellow highlighted tracks and doing the final editing and adding them to the site. So you're probably going to start seeing a lot of new content, a lot of new audio being added to the site. I know it's been a long time since I've really added a lot of audio to the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, but that's because this is what I've been working on. And it's been a few months that I've been doing this. I'm finally nearly at the end, so probably in a couple weeks at most, probably even less time than that, I'm going to start adding a lot of new audio to the site. A lot. All this that's in yellow is getting added to the site as I go through it. So now keep in mind, sometimes the final stage is the most tedious and lengthy process because it's cleaning, and depending on what needs to be cleaned and what needs to be fixed, it can be quick or it can be days, a week, more than a week to do one track, depending. It can take seconds or a week, and I have no way of knowing until I sit down and do it. So that's basically where I'm at. I really don't have much to show you on the website itself. Most of the work is represented here by this document. So I really just wanted to show you this so you know, yes, I have been working hard, and a lot of new audio is coming very soon, because I only have 4 left to do, and if I get interrupted by having people send me the missing audio, then I will move over to that, and then when that's done, I'll go back to finishing the final cleanup on everything. I hope all that made sense. It makes sense in my mind, but sometimes when I ramble on, it might sound confusing. And if you want a better explanation or need something clarified, feel free to email me or send me a message on Twitter or Facebook, anywhere that there is to find me. I'm happy to answer any questions and clarify anything that you don't understand. Please. I enjoy getting emails like that. I love to talk about my website with people, so it's not a hassle, and I would love to hear from you. I always enjoy hearing from people. So, let's look at this. I was just talking about all the missing audio that I need, so I made this fun little document. In the city. In search of audio. Okay, so one big thing I'm looking for is authentic bells and whistle sounds for the Disneyland Railroad. I have done Disneyland Railroad reenactments over the years, you know, to create the audio experience of taking the Grand Circle Tour, and I have never been able to find really good, authentic Disneyland Railroad bells and whistles. I find as close as what I can find, but it's never exact. I listen to the real thing on a video or something, and it sounds completely different than the bells and whistles that I've been using. And to do it right, I really want to have the real thing. But it needs to be, the problem is, it needs to be isolated audio. And what that means is, I want the bells with no sound other than the bells, and I want the whistles with no other sounds, or minimal. If it's minimal background noise, I can clean that out. But if it's a lot of people talking and a lot of steam and all that stuff, I can't use it. It has to be clean as possible so that I can use it wherever I need to use it, and not have to work around the background noises behind it, you know. So I have been looking high and low. I've sent emails to people. I've been watching countless YouTube videos of people who've taken live video of the trains to see if there's any sections that are clean enough that I might be able to use. The other problem is I do have some vintage recordings, you know, from the 50s and 60s, but the sound quality, although it's good audio and it's clean and there's nothing wrong with it, it has a certain sound quality to it that when you listen to it, you're like, that's old recording, because the recording equipment they used back then was different, and so it sounds different and it sounds vintage. What I really want is a modern day recording of it, so that it sounds like you're really going through the train. You're not listening to something I plugged in to, you know, I want it to sound authentic as possible. So vintage recordings aren't good enough, and recordings with people talking and background noise. So what really needs to happen is there needs to be somebody who knows how to make a recording that goes to the park and is able to grab some sound bites. That's probably the best way. And preferably what I would want is the CK Holiday, which is engine number 1, because to me that I've listened, I know these things now because I've been watching all these videos and comparing the different trains. And to me, the CK Holiday has the most iconic bells and whistles that I definitely, when I hear it, I associate that specifically with Disneyland. The other trains are good too, but out of all of them, that would be the primary one. But I still could make some of the others work. Definitely not the Ward Kimball. Stay away from the Ward Kimball as far as recording it, because it doesn't sound at all like it's a newer engine to the railroad line at Disneyland. It sounds different. It doesn't have the deeper timbre. It's a smaller engine. Just, there's reasons why I definitely wouldn't prefer the Ward Kimball. I love it as a train, just not for the audio for it. I know I'm being very particular. So the other thing I'm sort of hunting for is there is a tour, a guided tour at Disneyland called A Walk and Walt's Footsteps, and they didn't always do this, but in more recent years, they hand out headsets. And originally when they first started handing out the headsets, they only just used them so that the tour guide could amplify their voice and be heard better with the tour participants. But over time, they decided to utilize those to also add in audio clips that are, pertinent to the topic at hand. So one of them I know they play is when you're standing in town square, the tour guide will turn on the opening day dedication speech. And I know that when you're near Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, they play a little piece from Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. And the other one that I'm sure I know about is at the end of the tour, when you're leaving and walking down Main Street, they play Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins, the Julie Andrews original soundtrack version. Those are the only things I know for sure, and I don't even know what part of Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is used. So really what I want to find out is what's used specifically. What audio bites, what clips are played specifically during the tour, because I want to assemble those together and create a mix of all the different audio clips used to represent the Walk and Walt's Footsteps tour. So that's really what I probably have all the audio for that. I just don't know what audio I need to use to create that. So that's what that is. And then the next one, this is a biggie. Okay, so the Enchanted Tiki Garden at Disneyland has some drumming music when you enter into the theater. And I'm saying that first out because I have that. I have that music, but I don't need it. That's not what I'm looking for, basically, is what I'm saying. And as a matter of fact, that drumming music wasn't always used in California. It was originally used only in Florida's Tiki Room, or they call it their Tropical Serenade there. But when they did a refurb, I think in the mid-2000s, like 2000 aughts, they added that little drum music as you enter into the theater, which they had always used in Florida. They brought it also to California. And it's just sort of this music to kind of get you motivated to move your feet and get into the theater quicker. Disney always sort of does that as sort of a subconscious way to get people to sort of move faster. So they don't have to yell at you, they just play music to get you to move. It's a little nicer. But anyway, what I'm looking for, because I already have what I just described, what I'm looking for is they also added another little musical thing, and it's transitional, and they play this between each tiki god. There's a little section after they speak, after like Maui, the god of time, after he's done talking, they'll play this little drum beat and the sound of a conch shell blowing, like a brrrr, and boom da da boom 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 da da boom boom boom. And then, after a little pause, the next tiki god will begin their little speech. And they play that between each segment of the tiki gods. So it's not that music at the end. That's different music. It's just these little, short, little drum beats with the conch shell that happen between each tiki god. I'm looking for that. I don't have it. I've watched YouTube videos to see if there's some clean cuts of it on somebody's amateur video that they made of the Tiki Garden, and I'm unable to find it. And the other thing is, each one is different. They don't play the same exact thing between each Tiki God. The conch shell comes in at different times. The drumming is slightly different. I mean, if I can only get one, I will use it and just make do. But preferably, I would want all of the different versions so that I could properly replicate that. So those are the things that I am missing. And if you're able to do recordings, if you have these already, if you do make a contribution to me as far as the audio, I will give you a credit on the website. and say provided by and put your name, or if you don't want your name, I can provide your online name, and if you don't want to be mentioned at all, I can do that too. It's up to you, but I would like to be able to acknowledge you. On each chapter, I do have a little acknowledgement area, so I will add you to that. Now, there's one other thing that I'm looking for. I know this is like a really... this is the worst, because all I'm doing is asking favors of everybody in this episode. But hopefully the next time I'll have added, for the February vlog, I'll have added a lot of new content, and I can more go over that than go over all these, like, gimme stuff. It's kind of a little rude, I apologize. But I really need this stuff, so I'm trying to get the word out. So, the other thing I want a Jungle Cruise skipper. And I want somebody that is able to deliver the dialogue of the Jungle Cruise that the skipper delivers while doing a tour. So basically, I'm looking for an actor. I have a few that I've done on my site, but I don't want it to always be my voice, is the problem. I don't want it to sound like it's always me doing the narration. And as much as I would love to do the Jungle Cruise skipper, I would really prefer someone else. Because I'm not a big fan of my voice, to be quite honest. I'd like someone with a really nice speaking voice to do it. And I do have some stipulations. You do need some acting talent, and you do need some comedic timing. So, if you don't feel comfortable acting or delivering comedic lines, and I wouldn't bother. And it's okay if you don't, because not everybody does. We're all different. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, in order to do this, that's what we need, because this is for entertainment. I want people to feel like you're a real Jungle Cruise skipper. And if you close your eyes and listen to it, I want people to really feel like they're there. But I can't use a real Jungle Cruise skipper because all the noise. I want it clean, a clean recording of it. So, unfortunately, I know this sounds terrible, but I really would prefer a male. The reason is because traditionally, before 25 years ago, the Jungle Cruise skippers were always male. So I just want to sort of stick with what the tradition was. I don't have any problem with females doing it now, but I'm thinking more vintage with what I'm trying to replicate. And male skippers were the norm originally. So please don't be offended. I'm not a sexist person at all, but I just want to put it out there that I am pretty much just looking for males to do this. Anybody who has a nice speaking voice, comedic timing, some acting talent, and I will provide the script, and we could record it together, and I can coach you and give you director's notes, and it's not like a live recording. If you make a mistake, we can stop and go over, redo it. We can record it a few different ways and try it out. So, the last thing, again, your name will be credited on the website. Oh, and I want to say one other thing about the whole mail thing. I'm going to, at some point, be redoing my Storybook Land canal boat ride through. And at that point, I only want females. Because traditionally, only females used to do that. So, you'll get, when I'm ready to do that, because I'm not working on the Fantasyland chapter right now. But when I get to that in time, I will put out another casting call for female actors to do that. So it's fair. I'm not trying to be unfair or anything. So if anybody is interested and you've always dreamed about being a Jungle Cruise skipper, I always wanted to be. I did work in the parks on attractions, but I never quite got the chance to be a Jungle Cruise skipper, unfortunately. But if you want to live out your dream of being a Jungle Cruise skipper, or even better, if you used to be a Jungle Cruise skipper, or you currently are a Jungle Cruise skipper, that would be even better, because that would add even more authenticity, because it's a real person delivering it. But it doesn't have to be. It can be anybody. And so I'm just putting that out there. And if anybody's interested in doing this, please contact me. I'd love to be able to record your voice and use it to do my Jungle Cruise ride-through reenactment. So that's another reason. That's another thing that I have currently marked as red, because I need somebody to provide me with their voice. So that is basically the month at hand. Sorry I didn't have any more exciting things to share as far as adding new content, but that's all about to change. I'm right on the cusp of moving from Part A of the current task at hand to Part B, which is where everybody will start seeing the reaping the rewards of all that work that I've been doing the past few months, setting everything up. It's all going to start paying off, and you're going to start seeing by probably the middle of this month a bunch of new audio content. And if you want to keep track of the audio content as it's added to the site, probably the best way to do that would be to go to my Disneyland Audio Tour Index page. Let me show you that really quick before we end things here, so you know what that's all about. If you scroll down, you'll see, first of all, it's on the second row, second or third menu option from the left, Disneyland Audio Tour Index. And if you look at this, you'll see that it's got a listing of every track on the site. And right here it says coming soon in red. So anything that's marked in red is not on the site yet, but I'm working on it. Once I complete that, I will put the date, I'll put new and the date it was added. And it'll be on there for 1 month as new. And then I'll take them out eventually. But if you want to see what's new, the best place to do that is to go to this page, because anything that's new will be marked on here. And then if you see something new that you want to check out, each chapter has a link to go directly to that chapter. So here's the link to go to the Adventureland page. And then the other good way to keep track of what's been added to the site, because I'm telling you, a lot of new stuff is going to get added very soon. So you're going to want to keep track, and so you don't, nothing passes you by that you don't realize. I mean, nothing's going away, but that you don't realize is on the site. So another good way is to follow me on Facebook and Twitter, because I usually will announce new tracks immediately as they've been added. So if I add a new track, I'll put a graphic up and make an announcement and explain where it is and provide a link either on Facebook or Twitter. Twitter, I'm at DisneyChris73, and on Facebook, I'm Chris Linden, Lyndon, as in Lyndon Johnson, as I always say. So, I wasn't showing you the pages. I was describing them, but I had forgot to bring them up. Here, let me go back to where I was here on the index page. Here's the index page that I was just describing and not showing you. Sorry about that. And as you can see, it says coming soon. And after I've added it, I'll change that from coming soon to say new, and I'll put the date it was added. So if you click on the third link from the bottom row on the top of the website, and this menu is on every page of the site. It'll bring you to this page, and it'll show you what's coming soon and what's new for each individual chapter, and then there's a link to click on each chapter if there's something you want to check out. Alright, sorry about that. So, that is the update for January 2020. I hope you have a wonderful new year, and I will talk to you all again on February 1st. Bye-bye.